Bought this used from a streamer. It has like 10 different cables in there. This one's only got two rings on each side. Testing. Testing.
I see something moving.
Yeah, I know. I was just trying to see if it's.
Internal mic or external?
Yeah.
I think you're live.
Kind of cable. Testing, testing, testing. Testing, testing, testing.
Now, we have the same three guys here that sit in the back row and don't shut up.
Yeah.
Don't be shy to, at
Yeah.
the beginning of the meeting, I'm gonna tell people that this is being live streamed, then it's being recorded for.
Testing, testing, testing.
Excuse me, however you wanna call it.
Testing, one, two, three. Testing, one, two, three. Bingo.
Cool, it's live.
Matt, you know nobody else will know. I asked about 4 people, what the password is to get into the website to see the schematics and all that other good stuff.
Yeah, I know what it is. No, it's not that.
NJARC member.
Yeah, give it to me. I'll write it down.
Okay, here we go. Hey, Matt, does this thing pick it up? Can you hear it? 1, 2, 1, 2.
It's not hooked into this.
No, I just wondered if that was, the mic was just picking up ambient.
If I unhook this, it would. Here, I'm going to turn the transmitter off, and you can just go ahead and wear this. And I'll turn it on. Still booting up.
It's live. So we are.
on.
We're live. Rich is not here. Rich is,
Not much showing.
He might be online. We'll see.
yeah, he might be watching.
No, I mean.
Where is Rich?
Rich is,
Doesn't seem to be. I understand you got it.
It's in Italy. Sorry? Oh, is it? Oh, that's cool.
so I asked him if the next meeting we're gonna have cannolis instead of cookies.
Where in Italy?
Don't know exactly. He didn't tell me that, I didn't ask. The last time he was there, he moved around a bit from city to city. And my daughter went there when she got out of college, and she started up north and worked her way all the way down. And her grandparents. The rumor is that you built that when you were in grade school.
Just say what?
The rumor is you built that when you were in grade school.
Oh,
I'm doing much better.
Welcome to the meeting. Randy usually sits at the table. They were 80.
You got the gavel? I'm not in the financial.
All right, folks. Good evening. Let's go ahead. I don't have one.
All right, stop.
Thank you. All right. Thanks for coming out, folks. And we do have people that this is live.
Guys, we start.
We do have people that this is live streaming to, and it's being recorded by our archivist Matthew for future use. So during the course of the meeting, please keep the chatter down. If you have to discuss something, kindly do so out in the hallway, as it really makes a mess out of Matt's work, and it's very hard to clean up. I certainly can speak louder. That's not a problem.
Turn on the mic.
I don't normally use them because I got a big mouth, but okay. I'm starting to look like a hi-fi set.
Just hope it don't rain in here.
And what's that, 48-volt battery? Hey, that better in the back row? All right. So there we go. All right, we're going to open with the infirmary report. And if you folks would join me, please, in a moment of silence for our late docent and longstanding member, Paul Hart. Thank you. Let's see. Other people, our DX member, Joe Devonshire, is recovering, but he's still got a little bit of trouble left with the knee. He's not out of the woods yet, but it's getting there, and it looks like he's not going to need to have it repaired. It looks like it'll be self-healing. It's just time. But he's driving and on the road again. Dave Sika, our newspaper writer, is a little bit under the weather, but he is recovering nicely. Exchanged a couple emails with me earlier today. And our former VP, Sal Brasindi, status quo, he's still at the Care One facility down in Homedale on Route 34. No change there, same as Rich reported last time. And in some facsimile of a meeting order, I'm going to call for reports. Harry, do we have a Treasury report tonight?
Well, I can give you one, but,
A quick and short version.
well, the condition of the Treasury is good right now.
Good.
And, you know, we pay our bills and things. Now, a few things are due soon. We give our annual gift to Princeton, and we have a number of events coming up that we pay for and things like that, but we'll be fine. I don't want to say the numbers
Right.
on,
Well, it's public.
on the air.
So just give you guys a brief list, please, of what we have coming up.
Has Richmond tapping it to go on to Italy, or?
I thought he was going to go to Aruba with it, but instead he went to Italy. Right.
Just be a
I don't really have anything else to say at this point.
Ray or Harry, have anything to report on the museum? Anything new? Anything we need to know about?
That I will speak about. Okay. We are doing reasonably well on docents, but we are always open for more docents because, as somebody said, some of our guys get overloaded, and so anyone who wants to have fun talking to visitors and giving them stories and things like that, as long as the stories are true, and things like that, we welcome you. We've got training materials and so on. Now, what I did want to say is this weekend we only have one docent for each of the 3 days. We're doing 3 days because the Vintage Computer Festival is this weekend. They get about 1,000 people. So we get a pretty good crowd. And so now Richard Hewitt, where's Richard? There he is, has volunteered to be the double on Sunday, but we need doubles on Saturday and on Friday. We'll be open both of those days. So anyone who is a docent, yes?
Harry, I'm just wondering, is it possible maybe at some point you could have like maybe a little session on what's it like to be a docent, maybe training, or, we come to either one of these meetings or maybe on a Saturday or something, people could come over and walk us through and just, maybe.
Oh, absolutely. On Saturday or Sunday, you certainly can come because we are open. We are docents there. We have written materials. We have usually have visitors that we can show you how we do it. Things like that. Yes, we have lots of Saturday and Sunday opportunities for that. And it's always good to have what I call floaters, the people who aren't assigned that day, to be there, because sometimes we get overloaded, even if that person is not fully trained.
I was thinking that if you did something like that, maybe we could go through the process of, role play as a docent, and you just see, is this person going to be okay, or is this person maybe, not really the kind of caliber we need for a docent, and then you find out, yeah, maybe I could be an alternate, but I'm not really a primary, to find out if you think, because everybody, somebody like I would talk about, stuff that I might be interested in rather than maybe what somebody else might talk about,
Absolutely, but you have to be careful not to overwhelm the visitors. That's the only issue.
There's a pretty good, Harry and his folks have put together a pretty good series of pamphlets on what we are supposed to do as docents and what we are not supposed to do.
Right.
So that kind of takes that danger of wandering away if you stick basically to the script. Where can we find that pamphlet?
Just request it. It's actually not a pamphlet. It's right. Matt posted basically the docent handbook, which is the major piece of work.
Is it online?
Matt posted it.
When the website's up, it's on.
Right. Now that's the top end. We also have smaller, what are the jobs, things like that.
And what days of the week are we looking at to?
We are open Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays every week from noon to 5. This week, and during school season, we tend to get mornings as well. And so, like this week, we have a Monday morning and a Wednesday morning with the kids, high school and grade school kids.
So Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays.
That's correct. Wednesday is also our work day. So if you don't have anything else to do with visitors, you have things to do in the shop.
What kind of things in the shop would you be able to do?
We have things that need repair at the moment. We have a number of devices, like a projection TV, and some other devices like that. Sure, absolutely.
Thank you, Harry.
One thing that I do at the Sarnoff Museum is we've got a customer, I ask what the person's interests are, or background, and I can tailor the talk. If it's say an engineer, or if it's somebody in the arts, obviously do a different presentation.
How do you know who your customers are? Like when they come and visit?
They come in.
Do you ask them, like, what's your own background before you give them a talk? See, you know, like,
That's much too direct. You just find out whether they know.
You see where they gravitate.
See where they gravitate, what level they seem to be at.
Okay.
And you
Think of it as in terms of a poker game. You start to interact with the person, show them one or two things, and then just see what the kind of reaction you get from them. And maybe they just want to walk around on their own, or maybe you can just take them over to different displays and show them. It's everybody's different.
okay.
It's not, no big deal.
Yeah, I mean, one of the typical things we do is we say, well, you know, if people come and they're looking at things, say, ask if they have any questions, and remind them that you're there to answer questions and help them out. And some people will, you know, essentially, they won't do this, but grab you and take you around and ask questions.
Okay.
And some will just ask one question, and some will just say, no, not really. And you just got to adjust to that.
Are there things that can touch and feel and
A
work?
lot,
So we allow them to run the equipment?
much of it.
Everything is marked as to what can be handled and what cannot. It's pretty well laid out.
I have a story I want to tell later, but it has nothing to do with this directly, so.
Okay, we'll do that during show and tell. All right, membership report. As of 21 March, we had 219 members in good standing, i.e. they paid their dues. There were 32 folks who chose not to renew for a variety of good reasons. Some of them are to the point where they just can't get to our events. Yes?
I know that we have a recent new member, it may not be in your total, but apparently that was the fellow that I was texting, he was gonna be here. I see he isn't here tonight, so.
Make that 220.
So I think we're at 220.
Thank you. Yeah, so it's, of the 32 that didn't renew, some have moved out of the area, some have passed on altogether, shall we say, and some are to a point in life where they just can't do this work anymore.
Dying is no excuse. It doesn't get you out of a car lease.
Now, while I'm on the subject of membership, looking around the room, I see a lot of familiar faces. But do we have any guests in the audience tonight, or people who, this is your first meeting? If so, please stand up and introduce yourself. Well, that was easy. I know him. All right, I'm going to ask our website and social media person and archivist, Matthew, to give a few words here about the work he's been doing for the club. He's got hundreds of hours into this stuff, and we're all very, very thankful that he's willing to do that.
I'm not so sure I'm willing to do that.
Yeah, he's a club member.
I don't know why the website's down, so don't ask. We've reached out to the service provider. Dave has. I don't have the access to do it myself. I haven't heard if he has heard. He's in the hospital, or was.
I believe he's home now.
He'll be all right. But I've been busy on the website. If you've been watching at home or looking at home, I've constantly been adding more things. In tandem with Jerry and Gordo, I've been adding up more of the stuff he's scanned. As of Wednesday, we're up to, I think, with two missing gaps, TSMs, the SAMS transistor service manuals, 1 to 90. So we're missing 2, and there's more to scan.
So you have Sam's photo facts uploaded to the site that can be downloaded for nothing?
Yeah, as a member, you can download Sam's photo facts, Sam's picture guides, Sam's transistor service manual.
Certain range, up to a certain point.
Up to whatever the copyright thing is. I think it's 174 or something. Jerry will correct me, and I'll look in the chat because I know he's out there. There are other things up there like Bateman's and Riders. One of the things I've been doing, and you'll see it when I'm done because it's a lot of work, is I'm uploading the tube data, the data sheets of vacuum tubes, like that POCnet, Frank's POCnet, that guy. He offers mirrors of his content, so I've mirrored it. And I'm trying to edit the the listing pages to match ours, so it doesn't just look exactly like his. So there's over 50 pages of, you know, A, B, C, D, and then 1, 2, 3, and then breaking up by 500. So it takes a long time to go through and clean all that up, but the sheets will be up there. So that's just another resource, so you don't have to go all over the web, and it also just helps it stay in case one of those things dies, you know. So I'm busy with that. I'm still doing the Throwback Thursday, so please keep watching. We're less than 70 hours away from hitting the 3,000 mark, where we can start getting monetization from people watching our content. So that's with a 5-day delay, so there's a chance that we're, you know, well, obviously we are less than that, but I can't tell you how much.
Hey, Matt?
Yeah.
Are you continuing to upload like the videos from like way back? I was watching something where you had like one of the meetings where everybody was like much younger and it was like.
Yeah, that's what all the content is. It's all from 1994 until 2012 or something when we stopped putting it on tape. So, you know, I did a whole lot of the video copying from tape last summer, and I had more time then to keep doing it, so I'm falling behind with capturing from tape, but I have enough banked up that I edit one every week and upload it every week. So I need to get caught back up, but I got called back to the office, so I can't do 2 things at once anymore. So, but I got enough to keep going, and I'll get caught up on that.
Do you ever put links into things like what Bob Bennett uploads, you know, his like trip around Cubstown, things
I
like that?
don't try, I mean, he puts it out on the communicator, and that's enough. You know, when we do a joint venture thing, which we did for Parsippany, then I will do that. But there is a page on the website, the video library page is all those talks. And then for any of them that have been digitized, there's the link directly to that particular video. There's just a lot that haven't been done yet, because I mean, how many meetings was it at least 10 a year from 1992? So, well, 94 when he started recording them. So it's a lot, you know, it takes time, and Bob can tell you it's one thing to record it, you have to edit it, clean it. And a lot of those early ones were recorded on VHS. We're sitting right next to an overhead projector and its fan, or with a bunch of people making noise in the background. So it takes some time to make it to where you guys might care about listening to it or watching it.
It's a very, very large time investment that Matt's putting into this thing.
Yeah.
So if you could try to, if for no other reason, so we can get our hours in and lock into the monetization thing, that's a big deal, because that's potential for us to actually make some money on it. Being a 501c3, it's.
Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna get rich, but it's free money.
It's free money.
Right, you know.
So if you have some good spare time and nothing to do, why don't you watch 1 or 2 videos? I've been watching them, and they're great. Some of the older ones.
Yeah, and also if you have something to do and have more than one computer, watch them anyway, because you know, we need to get, if we hit that number, it's a one-time thing. You don't lose that status, right? And
if you have 5 computers in your house, you
You
want
know.
your dog and your cat to watch one, and then you go and set one up for grandma or grandpa.
because it's a rolling window. It's a year time, so it's not like I can just wait and then eventually we'll get there. At a certain point in time, the earlier ones fall off, and in June or whatever last year when I started this, everybody was excited. That was a lot more hours than everybody. No, he's been doing it for years.
The key thing here is, guys, is
You
you
know.
have to get locked in at 3,000. Once we do that,
Yeah.
they can't remove it. We're locked in.
Yeah, and that basically gives us some amount of money for every time someone watches one of our videos. If we're gracious enough to get to 4,000, we get it from the video watching, and if anybody is looking at any of the stupid ads that are all over the page.
What about setting up a session on a Saturday where we all come with our laptops and tune in, you know, on the internet someplace, maybe at Wallstown Township, and just do that?
I mean, you can do it at home. There's no reason. It also, Google gives you that 5-day delay because they look for goofy stuff like that. They don't want to see 40 computers from one IP address or whatever. So that's why it's not live right now. So, and also for anybody at home, your hours are counting for these live streams, so thank you. And if you missed it and want to watch it again, those hours count too. So, anything else that I need to talk about?
Not that I'm aware of.
All right.
Thank you very much. All right, for those folks who were not present in the room, who are watching remote, and for those folks who are watching remote as our guests and are not members, just a reminder to join our club. Once our website is back up, you can very easily do that. There is a membership page. The benefits to you becoming a member, whether you come to our meetings and our repair clinics, where we will fix your radio or show you how to fix your radio, and we don't charge you for that. It's a benefit of membership. And you can also get full access to an awful lot of Sam's Photofax, the transistor service manuals, the traditional ones starting at 1, going on to 631 or something like that. I will also get the text correction from the person who did all the scanning work. And there's some other service guides up there and some identification books and things like that. So for $25, you become a member of the NJARC, and you have literally hundreds of dollars worth of service manuals. Bob, you had a...
Well, what I was gonna say, Paul, is you can, and I've said this, you don't have to live in the state of New Jersey to be a member. I mean, if you're watching us right now live streaming from New Delhi, India, you can be a member of the New Jersey Antique Ray Club and get the benefits that our members have. And it's really a wonderful, if you're into antique, any kind of antique electronics, it doesn't have to be radios or, you know, we have in our museum all kinds of, we have TVs, we have phonographs, we have stereo systems, speakers, just a lot of stuff. So again, you know, if you live out of state, that's fine. If you live out of country, that's fine too. You can be a member.
We have members in Canada, we have members down south, we have members all over the place. So don't be shy, folks. So far as the knowledge base that's among our membership, we work on everything from crystal radios to particle accelerators. Although I don't think we're going to see one of those at the repair clinic anytime soon. They're just too damn heavy to carry.
Jerry and Gordo says we have the transistor SAMs from 1 or 0 or whatever to 151 in our possession.
So we've got the first 151 SAMs
That's great.
transistor.
So he said by May we'll have them all scanned and uploaded. Because I mean, we're already at 90 now, so I mean he's not far from it.
Fantastic. And then we have the first.
Thanks, Jerry.
That's a big deal.
That's a lot of work. One of our members donated, and I got to ask him if I can. Jim Wharton. I was gonna keep his name out of it, but he did donate an enormous amount of those to us. Basically, the ones Matt just described. And Jerry goes through the trouble of very carefully cutting the spines off without damaging the pages. High-res scans them. They're text searchable. You can search the indexes, you can find out which SAMs you need, and then you can click on the page in the index so you don't have to sit there and scroll for a week and a half. Then he binds them back up and gives them back. So he's doing a ton of work and not charging us a dime for it.
And the binded ones end up at InfoAge at our shop.
Yeah, the plan is for the ones that were donated to us, they're going to wind up at our shop. Some of those scans came from my SAMs, and they're now bindered, which is kind of nice because now you can lay them flat on the service bench as opposed to them flopping all the hell over the place. So it's a lot of work. The guys are doing it, and we're very thankful. All right, old business. On 15th of March, we had our Spring Hamfest and Swamp Meet up at the Parsippany PLL. It was not the best show we ever had insofar as vendor turnout. The number of vendors was down somewhat from the past. Some of our folks who have traditionally been vendors for years did not make it out this time. And again, that's weather and age and driving too far and lifting too much stuff. So we need to work, guys, to get some guys with stronger backs, younger backs, and get some younger folks into this club that have the interest and will help fill that in. I mean, we've had people that have been with this club since its inception and are still doing work for the club and are still going to our meets and stuff. They can't do it forever. So we gotta start backfilling. And
I don't know what the head count was at
well, I'm
Parsippany,
getting
but
there.
I would say it was probably You know, not just, I'm not saying for the vendors, I'm saying that the people. who
126.
came, we had a lot more people coming through the door, I think, probably
Yeah.
by at least 10–15% over in the fall.
Yeah, the recording is 126 paying customers came out, which is good, so that helps us quite a bit. And then unfortunately, we had 4 last-minute table cancellations, and some of those were due to illness. So that's where that is. Judith and Jerry did us a big favor, per President Rich's request, and they surveyed people coming in to the show to find out, well, how did you find out about us? Where did you get our name from? And the majority are about equally split between the NJARC website, which Matt has rewritten and made it a nice site and an interesting site, and a site that has moved way, way up because of his work in the search rankings. We used to be way down there in the basement somewhere. And now it's a modern site, and that moves us up. That's how you get search recognition, and Matt knows some other ways to get search recognition. And then the rest of them were from the ARRL publications on their listing of HamFest, because we're listed in there. So a lot of work is being done in that regard. And the one question that I do have, from membership perspective, we did this one on a Sunday for the simple reason that there was no Saturday time slot available at the PAL. So we had to take the available Sunday. Does anybody object to us doing these on a Sunday where you have less traffic and all? Does it matter to anybody in the room? I'll take that to be no objection. Thank you.
Sunday is kind of not as good as Saturday, frankly. I don't know, it just seems like Saturday is the kind of time when people go around and do that kind of stuff. Sunday, maybe they go to church, or maybe they have family things. I don't know, I can't.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm just trying to get a feel.
Sunday is nice because of the fact that you get Saturday to load up all your goodies to,
There you go.
especially if you still work.
Yeah, and you don't have the traffic. So it's a mixed blessing. We'll, again, we're going to keep studying that. Is there any other old business that has not been closed at the last meeting that anybody's aware of? I'll take that as a no. New business. Friday, the 24th of April through Saturday, the 25th of April, we will be celebrating Marconi Day. It's International Marconi Day. And the club, as you know, has amateur radio station Whiskey 2, RTM, where RTM stands for Radio Technology Museum. And we will be working this fairly hard, and Neville, who is our chairman on that and drives the forces forward, and can make a radio do everything, even if it's broken. We'll discuss it to you.
All right. Well, this will be, if my math is right, this will be the 152nd celebration. What do I do?
Put it on your
Oh, I'll walk off it if you do that.
I'll chase after you.
Okay. All right, so supposedly, if my math is right, he will be 152 years old today, but unfortunately we lost him a while back. Anyway, his real name and full name is Guglielmo Giovanni Maria Marconi. Say that 5 times after you've had a couple of beers. Born on April 25th, 1874, and of course, we have April 25th coming up here as a celebration of his birthday. If you're not a ham, it's one of those things, it's, you know, a birthday, okay, you say, but if you are a ham, it's a chance to get on the air and chase down one of about 50 locations that are associated with his legacy. And of course, here we are a major location as part of his legacy, as this was the receiving site, if I got that right, receiving site for his transatlantic relay network in 1913. But anyway, this whole thing is put together by the Cornish Radio Amateur Club, GX4CRC. If you happen to hear them on the air, snag them, because that's a good call. And they may be running GB4IMD for this particular event. So Marconi Company still exists. They're still around. They're a European test equipment manufacturer, kind of like Hewlett-Packard in the US, but you know, they're big in Europe and occasionally see some things here. So 8 p.m. on Friday the 24th, we'll give it a try. We'll put our kilowatt rig on the air and create quite a stir. And it's kind of fun to come around and operate the station, be on the other side of a pile-up, and work as many folks as you can. Don't even really have to be a ham. We'll have plenty of operators there. And I know, Darren, you've gotten a good taste of what ham radio is like before you got your license. And it's a great fun event. Starts Friday night, 8 p.m., runs through Saturday evening, 8 p.m. We'll probably start on 40 meters, and that'll work out pretty much until the band kind of folds up around 2 a.m., and then who knows what happens. Somebody will crash on a couch somewhere. We'll probably start up again 7 a.m. or so when folks finally wake up and turn their rigs on, and continue possibly 20 meters during Saturday day, and then probably 40 meters and finish out the contest at 8 p.m. So operators needed. Dust off your license. Practice on the microphone if you need to. Maybe even bring a key. What the hell? We'll do Morse code for Marconi. What the heck? And it'll be a good time. I started circulating a note on our communicator, whatever they're calling it these days.
Yes.
Did I get it right? Did I get it right? Okay. All right.
Rich gets upset when we call for a reflector, but he's not here.
Okay. Anyway, we'll circulate maybe a sign-up sheet when folks can try to come around on those less popular times like 10 o'clock Friday night, 11 o'clock Friday night. That's when we kind of need operators, and possibly we have a conflict, or we'll be working this together with the repair clinic on the 25th, so we'll have to work out some kind of a shared deal. You know, somebody can hold a soldering iron in one hand and a microphone in the other and go for it. And then
That'll be at our facility in Wall Township.
yes, the Wall Township.
The radio station is in the museum proper. And
Right.
It's a nice station. If you're new to amateur radio, there's a lot to learn from that station and from the operators. You can see there's scopes built into that station, so you can see what's actually going on when you key out and stuff.
Right. So put it on your calendar, plan to come around, have a good time, and hope to see as many folks as you can. Come on out. I can't pedal that fast. All right. Okay.
You're an extra, you can run VLF. Too many mics. All right. So that's the deal on that. So come on out if you know people that are interested, invite them. If you have a rig at home and you can't make it, by all means, try to make some contacts with us and the other stations. We're trying to make a good showing for ourselves. We are an original Marconi site. He built the place originally, so it's kind of nice for us to participate. If you are just getting into ham and you're a technician or general class and you want to get a feel for what it's like to have a little more band privilege, we will have control operators present that have full privilege, so you'll be able to operate with the rest of us. And, you know, so far as where on the band you are, that's not a problem. If you've never touched a ham radio in your life, we will have control operators present, and you may operate under our license so long as we're standing there to make sure you don't do anything goofy. And we'd be very happy to have you. All right. That pretty much covers our new business.
I have a question for you about that.
Yes.
There's something coming up in May called Hamvention.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many of us in here are interested in, attending, but it's out near Dayton, Ohio. It's a big annual event.
Oh, that's huge, yes.
Yeah, and, personally, I'm planning to try to make the trip. It's something where maybe we'll take some movies and bring back, maybe show some stuff to the club at some point. But at any rate, it runs 3 days, the 15th, the 16th, and the 17th of May. I know they're planning, I think, here to have a meeting because Kutztown is the week before.
That's right.
So I guess, a lot of people will be attending here, maybe not going there, but bottom line is, that it's a big event and, comes once a year, and I guess people are welcome. I think it costs you $30 for a ticket,
It's the largest in the U.S.
So anyway, make note if you have nothing to do that week, make the trip or enjoy or whatever, tune in.
Thank you. All right, is there any other new business that anybody would like to bring to the floor tonight?
Well, I'd like to just, give
Harry, please.
a little, don't forget Field Day is also coming up in the following, so, that will be discussed.
Yep.
Okay, I was just gonna remind you, hams, that I'm a former ham. Field Day, is coming up in June, as you mentioned, and, so, when you're finished with this, get ready to, crank up your generators and take it out in the field, down at InfoAge.
It's usually the third rainy weekend in June.
Lightning adds to the challenge.
Yeah,
Commit generator.
We might need one, yes, thank you. Yeah, we probably, like, we'll probably run, never, you're thinking to run 100 watt, or are we gonna go high power this year?
100 watts seems to be the sweet spot.
Yeah, 100 watts in a wire seems to be the fun, yeah, that's where the fun is. All right, so that takes care of that. Speaking of that Hamfest, our president, Rich, has already done the paperwork to get the place where we normally hang out. And he's already filed the ARRL application for us to be participating in that, so all that is well underway. And our next couple of swap meets, he's already sending the paperwork to the ARRL for those, because you gotta give them a lot of lead time. Keep in mind that they still publish paper, and there's a very long lead time when you put something out on paper magazines these days. So that's where we're at on that. All right, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna take a short break, and I mean short. And during the break, for those who need to move about the building and eat cookies and that type of thing, by all means, please do. But on your way, please stop by the front desk here and pick up a couple of 50/50 tickets. It supports the club. And while I'm on that subject, Darren, come on down, you volunteered. Rich has been doing that to me for years, it's my turn. And let's see, Matt's already working, so I can't volunteer him. Who is going to be the helper for Darren? Thank you, sir. I don't have the hat, but this box will have to do. Oh, you have a hat. And some tickets.
This box is not really great because it's got the flaps.
Well, that's okay. It's all
There you go.
What do we got?
You know what, it's probably gonna be easier to do this.
Yep.
Maybe I'll stump throw them like this.
And this is, watch. Thank you.
25, I'll get it, thank you.
25 the club.
Hey, there will be no marrying.
All right, folks, come on down. Oh.
So we got them all done.
I'm sure you did.
Oh, okay.
All right, folks, come on down.
Somebody
50,
to pull the ticket.
Yeah, we're gonna need somebody to pull the 50-50 ticket.
Wait a minute, where is,
Where is the new member? If anybody's out in the hall, could somebody reel those folks in, please? Thanks, Bob. Just tell them we're gonna pull the 50-50. If they're not present, it goes to the next person. That usually does the trick.
You make a better door than a window.
Harry, did you have anything else for us?
I have the
We got it. All right, new club member got 2 new radios. Fantastic.
where's Ben? Come right here. Ben, we need you to pick a winning ticket tonight.
Just set those on the chair anywhere, they'll be fine.
There you go.
All right, I'm picking the winning number.
All right, folks,
Get the number
50-50.
you want, as long as it's mine.
All right, there we go.
What do we got?
Want me to read it, or you want to read it?
I'll get it.
Yeah, I got 2 or 3 of them.
All right, folks, 50-50. 6781-450. 6781-450.
Trust but verify.
I'm buying you a case of beer.
Wait, trust but verify. You think I can read? I don't have my glasses.
Oh, you have your glasses? Oh, there
Oh,
you
no,
go.
that's a Petri dish. That's not gonna help magnify anything.
Depends on what's in it.
That's true. You're right.
You want to read, that's the number right there.
$25 to the
I
winner.
can't read. I don't like.
Yeah,
Oh, my
looks right to me. That's good.
All right?
Looks just like this one. Here you go, sir. Thank you.
I almost put my hat back on with the tickets, and that wouldn't be great.
So Bob, what I missed, what do you guys start with? You go through like some kind of an agenda?
All right, let's move along here. So we've been through everything on the formality side. So now I'm going to hand off to some of our members who have brought in some various pieces of equipment. And I guess in honor of Fred, there's a clock out here. You'd have to know us to know that joke. Matt, you want to take the floor here?
You want me to,
Make sure Matt's on TV.
I'm Matt Reynolds, and you're not.
No, I'm jackpot.
I brought in this multimeter here. This came from that same estate as all that stuff I was donating that I saved from that, I won't call him a silent key. I guess he is a silent key, but he was a CBS television engineer, passed away last month at 99. And his kids had called to help save his stuff, get rid of it. They had contacted the TCA, the Tube Collectors Association, and they're like, well, I'm in Virginia. So we passed it on, anybody in New Jersey, and I answered it, and here I am. So I found this in his garage, and I'd never seen one. This is a Simpson 460. So everybody knows the 260, but this is a 460. And they made this for quite a while, but they changed it a lot. And this is the first iteration of it, and it uses vacuum fluorescent tubes instead of LEDs. And they're individual glass tubes for each digit, like Nixie tubes. And what's cool about this one, and then Bob will talk about his, is similar, is they had 2 different meters on them. They had the digital readout meter and then an analog meter. So it's great for peaking, right? You know, you can see the swing, but then if you need to be more specific, you got that. And it's also battery possible. You know, it was one of the first digital meters that actually ran on batteries and would run on 4D batteries. But obviously we're not doing that tonight. It didn't work when I got it. I found it was missing some pieces. The guy had started working on it. And anyway, I couldn't figure it out, and I pawned it off to Paul, who hammered away at it.
I pawned off something like him a while ago.
And I had trouble finding any documentation, and Simpson's always like, oh, contact us, and we had the manuals, and they're like, that's obsolete, sir, for about 40 years. I'm like, well, I know that. I was hoping you guys had some old guy in the corner that had this in his, you know, filing cabinet or whatever, you know. And I found on archive.org the operator's manual, but I couldn't find a service manual. But Paul could, because he knew how to get AI to talk to, like, read what's in the Library of Congress and blah, blah, blah. And it turns out, despite the fact that I searched archive.org for documentation, this was also on the same website, and it didn't come up when I searched for it. But Paul's got it mostly working. And part of what's interesting about it, other than the fact of what it is, the guy worked at CBS. So as you can imagine, some of the stuff from CBS made its way home. And this was no exception. It says Studio Cam Maintenance Department on it, etched, scratched in. And I brought his QSL card, if anybody wanted to see it. And in case this didn't make it, I brought a bonus thing, which I just bought, so it's not as special as everything else. This little tiny vial has a sample of trinitite in it, which is the burned, melted, fused together sand element from when they dropped the Trinity test bomb. And it's not radioactive anymore, according to the people that sold it, because they sell GM tubes. And they said that it won't, like, even with their GM tubes, with the outside of the glass, it doesn't even click any more than background. So I didn't open it, I didn't try to lick it or anything, but there's a little certificate of authenticity here, because if you don't know, you can visit the Trinity site. You know, it's a national park, but it's only open like 1 day a year. But you can't collect any of it, it's against the law. But this came from a sample from Dr. Ralph Prey, which he gathered in 1951 before it was illegal. So they acquired it and smashed it up into smaller samples to sell. So anyway, you can hold a piece of the Trinity site test. So that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Matt, will that meter charge, if you put the details, will it charge its own batteries?
Yes, because they used to have.
The later version.
They used to have. Rechargeable NiCads.
That's good, because the line came with them and they made a mess.
The way that's designed is all you have to do is plug it in, the charge is always out.
Yeah, that's.
The other thing that was interesting is those tubes were made by Tungsol. They were not like Fujitsu or anything like that.
Yep.
So they're very scarce.
All right, this is, now I was asked by our Vice President, Mr. Paul here, for me to bring this in tonight. So this is a Simpson 360, this is the 460, this is the 360. And I love this meter, I don't use it that much, I just have it because going back to my childhood, I'm very young, a long time ago, I was going to school and I wanted to get this meter. I had a friend that came from a family that had lots of money. They had their own business. And the guy I knew and shared my high school electronics class with had one of these, but I couldn't do that. I just didn't have the resources. So I ended up getting a 266P, which was the analog with the meter and the swing. You've seen them all. So Paul and I, a couple years ago, we were up at, what was the Hamfest? That's no, it's the one that Judith and Split Rock. So we went up there it was like right before Christmas, and they had an auction. So Paul and I got in the car and we went up there, and this was an auction item, $20. So that, that was just a home run, and I was just thrown back in my chair because, I could light it up. Let me light it up so you can see. So you saw the vacuum fluorescent ones that Matt has, but this is just a LED display. And it does work.
Does it have the audio output, the ones that 260 have a way to check your
Yes.
output? Does it have that?
Yeah, on the lower right here. Yep.
So you can use it to
Sure.
peak your IFs and stuff.
Yes. So it's cool. It's my favorite meter.
Those did ship at the same time.
I also wanted to mention that the lights, those LEDs are what they use to replace those tubes on the 460.
The later 460s had a different control
They use
layout.
those.
And I didn't notice until I learned from these guys that these were actually made together right in the same time frame, or very close together. So when I was in school, I wasn't even aware of this. So, but that would have, I couldn't afford that. How am I going to get that?
I don't know that version, I think the later version of the 460, which is the one with the display like that 360 has.
Okay.
The catalog shows them as overlapping.
So the other thing is that there's been a lot of stuff going on in the communicator about the RCA BP10. I acquired a couple of these, and I got pretty excited, and I did some research. I kind of did a child-friendly YouTube video where to kind of get young people interested, or why I thought that radio was such a big deal. This I got a couple years ago from a JD auction. Darren remembers the house this came out of. It looks like a BP10, works like a BP10, smells like a BP10, except it's a Westinghouse. I have not seen another one of these anywhere on the web. So I don't know if I'm just really lucky, or I know that there was a stint, and this works, by the way. I'm going to try to open this. Oh, can you hear that?
Didn't you feature that?
So it works.
What do you use for B battery?
Let me see if I can get the bottom off. I'll show it to you here.
Bunch of 9-volt series?
No. I actually have a 47.5 volt battery in here. I forget how to open this up. No, I'm not gonna. Nah.
You can still buy them?
The batteries? There's somebody out there, I'm sure, that's making them in repop.
You still have the same battery in it?
I never changed it.
I know it was working when it
I had to change. Believe it or not, I had to change the A battery. But the B battery is still good, so still works. So this is kind of a treasure for me. So that's it.
Bob, can I mention?
Yes.
We have a book, Dave Snellman had it down at the museum about portable radios. And there were something like 5 or 6 manufacturers that made it.
Oh, okay.
And apparently they made it before the RCA actually made the BP10.
So you're saying that Westinghouse actually beat RCA to the punch?
To delivering it.
Oh, to delivering it. Oh, okay.
Yes, designed it, but to delivering it, some of these.
But I know that there was a time where Westinghouse and RCA were kind of working together on stuff, and I didn't know if that applied to this or not. I don't think they did. But anyway.
I'll pull the book out sometime and show it to you.
Yeah, if you ever find another Westinghouse BP10, give me a call, or find a way to reach me, because I'd like to see it.
What's the year from those, like 55-ish?
40.
They started advertising. Well, here's what they did. When RCA started advertising the BP10, I don't know what Westinghouse did for their advertising. They started showing these at the World's Fair in 1939.
Wow.
So they were just getting the crowd enthusiastic and, hey, I've got a radio that you can carry. This is, you know, it's portable. You can run this off a battery. But RCA held back. They didn't actually release this until spring of 40. And then they made that available to the general public.
They spent an enormous amount of money and effort advertising.
Oh, yes.
They had celebrities walking around looking at them and posters and.
They were mostly interested in the tubes though, because they made all the tubes.
Yes.
There was RCA also made the Globetrotter series, first with vacuum tubes, and they scaled it down a bit, with the same general appearance, and they made the first solid-state portable radio, also in the Globetrotter series.
What do you have first, Professor?
Okay, so this is not exactly old, maybe 10 years old. I don't know if you know about Arduino computers. So I had a student that wanted to develop a device for his grandmother. He was concerned that she would fall, and he wanted a way to report that she had fallen. And so I started investigating this, and this is this is an Arduino with what's called a shield on top of it. The shield connects to a SIM card. I hadn't played with this before. So these Arduinos, well, there are extra boards that you can get to hook up your Arduino to Wi-Fi. Okay, so Wi-Fi is not good enough though, because you have to have a local router. So a SIM card allows you to connect up to the phone network. So we researched it, and so this has 2 radios in it. So this is a SIM 7000A. A is for America. The kid I was working with, by the way, was in China. So for him, he needed a SIM 7000G for global. And then I started experimenting with SIM cards and started learning about SIM cards to be able to connect to the LTE networks, and managed to get it going. So this thing, there's the Arduino, the development environment, they have these libraries that allow you to connect up to these devices. And one of the things you can do with it is you can send a text message. Unfortunately, if you go to, I've learned a lot about this stuff recently, trying to get this thing going. It turns out that the carrier for the SIM cards that you can get for these things are mostly international, and then the text message you get comes from a 88 area code, which is an international area code. Verizon blocks it. So I was working with this kid. The kid, I was doing this on Zoom. He was in Hong Kong. So of course it's not blocked in Hong Kong. So I sent him a text message from this thing, and he was able to receive it about an hour later. It was a very slow process. It has 2 antennas on it. It's got a receiver for GPS. It's got a receiver for GPS, and then it's also got a separate transceiver for the LTE network. And it took a while to get it going. It wasn't very expensive, and I was very pleased that I could get it going. And in the process, I also learned about this Internet of Things. I don't know. I see Matt's nodding. He said, "Have any of you heard of the Internet of Things?" Mm-hmm. Okay, so I really didn't know a whole lot about the Internet of Things, so I got educated a little bit on it. So it turns out these SIM cards, while they're not very good for in the U.S., they're not very good for either text or voice. They are good for data. So, and it turns out the way it works is there are they call them brokers. There are websites. So Adafruit is a company that has a broker for data. And I was able to have this thing send data to the broker, and then from the broker you can actually go on the Internet of Things and send out a text message. I never got to that point, but I did get it to the point that it could accept data. And then this Internet of Things, I think, has been around for a long time. maybe what, 15 years, something like that. And it's the data that you send is, you really can't send it's got a relatively low bandwidth, so you can't send a whole lot of data. Yes?
Suppose the owner falls, he then has to tap out a message and transmit?
No, so actually what I did with the student is it hooked it up to an accelerometer, an IMU.
Yeah.
So for about $3 you can get an IMU. So it's an inertial unit.
Another thing that would probably have to fall would be a mercury switch.
Yes, it's simpler to do that. Actually, the easier thing is go and buy an Apple Watch, because the Apple Watch is... I told the kid to do that, but he was a high school kid. He wanted a project for school. So I thought it was a really good project. And as I said, I learned a lot about doing this. I don't think I would do it again. And in the process of these SIM cards, one of the problems, so if you have, so it's easy to hook these things up to Wi-Fi. There's another board on the, well, first off, there are computers. There are many, so the, what is it, is it the Mega? No, it's not, it's the Atmega is the chip. Yeah. It's not the Atmega, it's the Giga. So the Arduino Giga has a built-in Wi-Fi, but then there's another board, there's an ESP32s, which has Wi-Fi built in that's easy to hook up. So it's very easy to do the Wi-Fi part of it. The SIM, the problem with it is you actually, you either have to pay for a service, right, so it's a monthly charge, or you can do it on demand. You can do it per message that you send. And then the protocols that you need for sending data turn out to be a little bit complicated, but understandable. And then I was able to program the thing up very nicely using ChatGPT. So that's also something I've been learning about. I don't know if any of you used any of these AI for writing code. It's actually, at first I resisted. I tried it. It's really easy. It works really well. And if it doesn't work the first time, you get an error message on your IDE, your development environment. You put in the error message back in, and what ChatGPT is very friendly, right? It says, oh yes, I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong code, and it gives you the corrected code. It works really well. So in any case, this is about $50 worth of stuff, and I use it basically just to educate myself. I don't think I'll ever use it again. Okay, that's it.
Looks like you have some things up there. So you got the mic?
Oh, yes, I do. Here we go.
Let's figure this thing out again here. All right, so why would us NJARC members spend all Saturday fixing a $5 radio? Everybody knows the answer. Because we can. So why would I spend half a Saturday trying to figure out one of those old Japanese meters that we used to all start our careers with here, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 70 years ago? Well, because I could, and I finally figured out how to do it. Very common fault with these little cheap meters is their magnet loses strength. And you find out that the thing loses maybe 10 or 15% of its calibration. But they are fixable. Sometimes if you open up the meter, you'll find a little piece of metal shunting across the bottom of the magnet. But when you run out of room to remove that metal piece to increase the strength of the magnet and it still won't calibrate, well, old hard drives come to the rescue. So I've found by fooling around with an old hard drive magnet stuck to the back of the meter and move it around and play around with it, and you can find a spot that'll increase the strength of the internal magnet enough to bring it into calibration. So, $5 meter, but it was fun to try. So there you go.
Interesting piece of history.
Yeah.
Weston, who founded the Weston Meter Company 100 and some odd years ago, made the claim that he had a magnet alloy which would maintain its field strength indefinitely. And I have taken Weston meters that were 120 years old and check the calibration.
Yeah, they're
Still
freaking
dead nuts. Within
amazing.
a fraction of a percent.
Yeah, obviously these guys, this isn't even a branded version, but Midland and all those other companies would sell these things for $5 or $10. And I've had this one since I was a 13-year-old kid.
Neville, do you leave the magnet in there?
Oh yeah, glue it on, because
You're not just trying to remagnet.
no, that never works for me.
Who else? Thank you, Neville.
And I walked off with a radio. There we go.
Next, who has something for us? Nothing's in the box.
Mr. John. John always has cool stuff.
There's a story behind this. First of all, this wasn't going to be, I wasn't going to talk about this, but since you mentioned about the BP-10 being Westinghouse, how many people here have a Radiola 3? And what does this say on it? RCA. I have one that says Westinghouse.
Got one of them too.
Oh, yes.
You have, okay, oh, all of a sudden, the hands
We have
go,
one at the Sarnoff Museum,
okay.
and I think I know why the history of that, but go ahead.
Many years ago, when I was moving to Texas, I had some items that I thought were very fragile. I didn't really want to move them down there. One was a speaker, and I was friends with a gentleman up in Quebec, Canada. His name was Dave Cheney. I hope he's still with us. But he was I think it was a 103 speaker RCA. It looked like new. Usually you see them, they're all faded. This thing looked like it just came out of the factory. It wasn't fit. The tapestry wasn't cracked or anything. It worked fine. Even the silk on the back was like new, no tears on it. And he wanted it, and I traded it for this Radiola 3. Except it was made in Canada. It was made in Ontario. But where it says RCA, it had looked like VW. It was Westinghouse. It was their. Just happened to mention it because you mentioned about that, and I just was curious if anybody had that, and apparently we do. So, okay. Back in 1988, 89, I was working out of Connecticut. I was living in New Jersey, and I had what was called a crash pad. I had lived in Milford, Connecticut, and then I got reassigned to another airplane. I was flying out of Groton, New London in 1989. So, person that I worked with, they owned a building. The second floor had a couple of bedrooms, so me and a few other guys chipped in, and that was our crash pad. It was 2 hours from New Jersey. To drive to Groton, New London from there was an hour to go flying. I used to go by Lyme, Connecticut, and for those who know what Lyme disease is, that's where it started. But anyway, I don't have it. On the street I lived on around the corner was a TV repair shop, an old one. There was a guy named Charlie Davidson ran it, and I got to be friends with him. And he started in 1949, and that's where this clock comes in, because he had it from 1949. He had it, and this is the first time it's running in like 15 years. It didn't want to move, and it's groaning. You can hear it saying, "Leave me alone," but okay. I guess I heard it and said, okay, I'll stop. But he had this in his shop, and he had a window facing the windows, big plate glass windows, and there was a bus stop there, and he had always made sure the lights worked, and this is where people would stop and catch the bus. So, and they used to run the buses at night, so he made sure people could see what the time was, so they knew when the next bus was coming. So he had this from 1949. 40 years later, 1989, he was going to close up shop. You know, repairs were down. Even back then, TV repairs were down and what have you. And he had a bunch of radio tubes that he pulled over the years. And he opened the door and says, "Yeah, I got a bunch of tubes." So I thought they were going to be like in boxes and all. No, he had stacked it up like up against the wall. It looked like it was like holy crow.
I got those for a good price. I said, I'm interested in the clock. He said, no, I don't want to sell the clock. I said, I'll give you $50. It's okay. And now this is 1989 now. And this is his advertisement from 1989. He used to hand these out to people. This is the last year he had it, where he has the calendar and he has his name and where the shop was. So I got this. Now, I've only seen maybe 2 or 3 over the years. I've seen Zenith clocks, but usually not like this. It's service parts, tubes, you know. It usually says TV on it, television, radio. So this is from there. I ran it from when I got it till we moved to Texas. And that's when the argument started with the wife about using electricity. So I had it working, and when we moved back to New Jersey in 2012, it's been packed away. So I thought I'd bring this up, and it has an interesting story behind it, because a lot of times we buy things that are neat and we don't know the story behind it, and the story itself is kind of interesting, like whenever you have something you know the history of. So I'm using night lights on this in the back with reducers. They had those little golf ball type lights with the Edison base, the real big base, and they last maybe, I don't know, a few months, and they burn out, and constantly replacing it. These I'll replace with LED lights, make the wife happy. It's not using anything, you know. What, this? It's a plastic with a glass. It's basically, I don't know what type of plastic, with a little metal frame in the middle. You know, so it's, I have a couple other clocks, and, you know, it's just neat, an advertisement. And over here I have Bendix Radio, product of Bendix Aviation Corporation. Well, that's me. I'm a pilot. You guys know that. And I was at Kutztown. Oh gosh, this is like maybe 8, 9 years ago, I think it was. And there was a gentleman that had this on a table. And I said, oh, that's pretty neat. He goes, yeah, I've had it for a long time. I think it's time to let it go. So I asked him what he wanted for it, and bracing myself, and he goes, $20. I said, how much? So I said, okay, that's great. So I've had it. It's been sitting around. Well, a friend of mine in Carrollton, Texas, passed away December 20th. He had suffered from dementia. His wife spent many years taking care of him, and he passed on. He has a bunch of radios down there, which she doesn't want to sell down south. She'd like to sell down north. I know, Darren, you're probably thinking about this. Really nice radios. Well, 2 of the radios they want to keep. One is the Walton radio, and the other one is a green Bendix Catalan set. So I'm going to send this down and give it to them. And their son wanted to remember his dad. I mean, he helped a lot, and he's been to college. He's gone back to college. He's a really smart kid, and that radio reminds him of him. And I thought this would look nice next to it. And I've never seen another display like this.
Is that from Iraq, or is that sit in among radios that were being sold?
This, it has. I thought this was wood, but it's like a cardboard, I guess. It's molded. And this part here, and there's a label here, I'll read it. This is wood, and it just sits on a table.
That was from like a store window.
That's a store, it's a store display. And how many store displays do you see nowadays? There weren't a lot of them, and a lot of them didn't survive. They got thrown away. This one isn't. It's in fair shape, I think. This is from the Pacific Display World Company from New York City, manufactured by. So I guess they made all different displays. I've never seen another one like it. I think this is neat, but I think I'd like to pass it on to them, and I think that Raymond that was his name, would appreciate it. So this is the only time it's going to be here. It's going to be on its way down shortly. I got to pack it, make sure it don't break or crack or anything.
I hope he's not watching.
It's okay. It's okay. You take that chance. But that's it. And I thought I'd bring something down you don't normally see. I'm going a little long here. There's a gentleman who I was in contact with over 35 years ago. Sorry, let me stay put. I have a Pepsi-Cola cooler radio. Most people think of the Coca-Cola cooler radios. I picked up a Pepsi-Cola one. I've had one knob was missing. He had one knob was missing, so we went together and paid and had 2 reproduction knobs made. Got it. Hadn't heard from him. Recently, thanks to the internet, it's like, wait a minute, I know this guy. I know. So I got in contact with him, and he's still there. He sent a picture of his radio. I sent a picture of my Pepsi radio and all that. And he has a bunch of clocks. And he says, I'm 80 years old, and I'm thinking about paring down the collection. So it's like, I don't know if he's going to let the clocks go or not. But, you know, it's just something neat. Something to aggravate my wife with, you know, just have it up on the wall and have like the time. Look, I need it for when I'm flying. You can say, you see where I'm at, you know. But anyway, that's it. Thank you very much for putting up with me. And who is next, Mr.
I have one thing to say about the radiola. When RCA first got into the business, of making receivers that people could have in their homes,
Yeah.
They did not have much significant manufacturing capacity, so they contracted it out to Westinghouse, so you see on the radio lid, both the Westinghouse and the RCA brands.
Okay.
It's an RCA design, but Westinghouse actually performed the physical act of building it.
Yeah, that's a whole nother discussion. Maybe one of these days, somebody more knowledgeable than I am will talk about it a little bit here.
That's the sound.
Yeah. Wow. I'm sorry, Scott.
Licensed by NRCA.
I'll read it more carefully.
That's a story we tell at the museum.
How's that? Okay. Good. I'm going to put something on the screen in a minute, too. All right. I'm going to talk about this thing. I made this thing, and there's a radio on it, and I'll explain the history of this. A few years ago, I was going to do a lot of AM radio restoration, and I obtained a isolation transformer, and I put it in a box, and the box used to be a color bar generator for TVs, and I thought, who needs that? So I ripped all the guts out of that, put the isolation transformer in that, and I brought it to a clinic, and the thing, it still had a lot of switches and things on it, and somebody said, you ought to do something with those switches. So I went, okay, so I put a 455 kilohertz modulated AM generator inside it. I'm sorry, I'm talking to the camera here. So when I'm working on a radio and I need to align the IF, I just go pop, and there's the 455 kilohertz. It's exact. It was very exact. It has a ceramic resonator for the 555, and sometimes it reads 553, and I go, oh no, what am I going to do now? And it has a Wien-bridge oscillator for the sine wave 400 hertz. Anyway, so I was having fun with that, and one day I went, why don't I do that for FM? Homebrew FM modulator, transmitter, not trivial. And then the IF for FM is 2.7 megahertz. All right? Huh?
10.7.
Yeah, 10.7 megahertz.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I thought I said that. I didn't? Okay. 10.7. Okay. So that turned out to be a little bit of a challenge. But I went ahead and put this thing together. And first, I think I'll show you what it does. And then I have a little slideshow to show you how I pulled it off. But I put in there, let's see. Anyone know how to work a radio? Off. FM, I think that's it. Okay, so this thing will produce the modulated 10.7 megahertz. It'll produce the low frequency for the bottom of the dial and a high frequency for the high end of the dial, all modulated at 400 hertz sine waves. So the first switch here, can you see that on the video? Yep. That turns on the 400 hertz oscillator. The second switch here turns on the 10.7 megahertz to align the IF. The third switch here sets, I think I have that one to set the high end of the dial, because that's a sequence for when you're aligning a radio. You do the IF, you do the high end, you do the low end. And the next switch is to do the low end. And so let me turn on the radio, see if it'll do anything and not embarrass me.
Also have to set up a discriminator. I don't know what, on FM it's a little more involved than AM.
Oh, I gave a little talk about that already. He's talking about how to set up the discriminator. Right? Yeah, I can do the discriminator too. I can't see the writing on this. Well, that might be it. Okay. So that's the IF. That's the 10.7 megahertz, and I don't use any shielding, so it leaks right into the radio, and you can still do the alignment pretty well. And to prove that it's working, I can tune the dial, and the signal's still there. There's the modulation, and then the second switch, I think, is the top end of the dial. That's there. And the third switch is the bottom end of the dial. So there you go.
I remember you were trying to be very fussy about getting a really undistorted sine wave for the modulation.
What do you mean?
I recall you were very fussy about the modulation. It had to be totally undistorted sine wave, 400 hertz.
Uh-huh. So how do I achieve that?
No,
Is that what you're asking?
I think you were trying various kinds of oscillators to do that. I don't remember.
Oh, yeah. Jonathan was friendly with me while I was doing all kinds of work on these things.
That's right, yeah.
Right?
I hope I'm still friendly with you.
Yeah. Well, I was seeing him often when I was doing a lot of work on this thing. I'm going to plug this in. So I have a mini slideshow that'll show you how I pulled it off. That come up. Okay. Yeah, I used this little thing I found on Amazon. It was a kit. It was kind of fun to build, and it's a function generator. Has one chip that does all the work, and it's a build-it-yourself kit. And I used that because it was fun. And
1 hertz to a megahertz?
yeah, that's
All in
pretty.
one band, or you have to band switch to do it?
Well, there's a band switch here. It's these jumpers here, band switch. And you can choose triangle, sine, and square.
Oh, I see it, yeah.
And you got fine and coarse frequency and amplitude.
Wow.
Neat little thing, $10. And fun to build. All right, next, to make the RF frequencies, I bought these little modules on Amazon. You can get 2 for $18. That was the current price for that. And so one of them I set for the low end of the dial, the other one I set for the high end of the dial. And you control it with these little buttons here, and it'll remember the settings. And
Are they rock bound or are they tunable?
Are they what?
Are they rock bound or are they tunable?
What do you mean rock bound?
Crystal controlled.
Huh?
Crystal controlled.
Oh yeah, they're crystal controlled. They're very accurate. And you set the frequency with here. You set the volume there. Next slide, please. And how do I make the 10.7 megahertz? Well, I get 2 of these. In that box is 3 of these, those FM transmitters. One of them's high, one of them's low, and the other one is 10.7 megahertz off of the low one. And I beat them together to get the 10.7. And I beat them together with this little chip here. It's a tiny, tiny little thing, 6 pins. It's a frequency mixer, they call it. It has a really wide range of frequencies. And in the next, how do you work this thing? This is what's inside that little chip. It's a, and it's, I think it's basically for receivers. And this is the Army's RF to the antenna, or L is local oscillator, and here's the IF. You ever seen that?
Yep.
Beautiful little thing. And it's such a tiny chip, and all those coils, it looks handmade. And those 4 diodes are on one little chip, and then they're just those little transistors in there. So that's how I mix the 2 RF transmitters together. And one thing you realize, it's a little tricky because the FM stations are all odd numbers. So how do I do that? Well, these little transmitters go in between the stations. So I can, and I'll show you what the frequency is that I used. Okay, yeah. Now, the lowest FM center frequency for America is 87.9. Highest is 107.9. The IF is 10.7. So I made one of them I made into a local oscillator at 98.6 is what it turned out. But I can make any of those frequencies anything I want. I just picked lowest, highest, and IF. What's next? Here's what's inside. This is, these are the 3 transmitters. These are all the switches on the front. It required double pull, double throw to do all the changing of the switching this one on, that one off, a pair of them on. There's a diode there to feed the power, and this is the oscillator for the 400 hertz. And I think that's it.
Cool.
Any questions?
Go back to the mixer.
I'm sorry.
BNC connector you have on it, what's that for?
The what? What's what for?
On the front panel, what's its function?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the signal will come out here. But I don't believe in shielding. So I just put the radio near it, and I can do the whole job. Do you have a question over here?
Mixer, can you just put that up again?
Which one?
Show me the mixer device that you
Oh, yeah.
the actual from eBay, wherever you got it, Amazon.
Oh, the mixer?
Okay, that thing, yeah.
No, this. I think I got that from Mouser. Actually, yeah. Any other question? Okay. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you much, Scott.
No.
You still got a live mic on you.
No more theremin. Okay.
Thank you, sir. All right, folks, thanks for coming out. Appreciate it. That concludes our meeting for tonight. And I think one thing that Scott has made a very good point with here, as our technical director, Al Clace, likes to remind us, build something. So that, as you can see, Scott has done. He's built a couple pretty cool things. He just doesn't show them all off.
Remind people that stuff's still on the table to be
Yes. On your way out, folks, stop at the tables out front. There's a number of radios and other gadgets and goodies for sale. And Bob is selling some. Who else is selling today? Selling? Q-meter, radios, record player. So stop out there and bring home some new goodies.
So is the next meeting in, at the other location? or-
At Info Age, right.
Yeah, I believe we're scheduled next Info Age. Which gives you a month to recover from tax day, so you should be able to buy stuff. Have a good night, folks. Thank you very much.